today I have Elena McDonald. She is one of the newest clinical counselors at the Lourdes Center, and we're going to learn about her, about what drew her to counseling, and just see what we can find out about what she does. So thank you for being here today, Elena.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know you're a little nervous today, but this is going to be super easy, so
Awesome.
don't worry.
Awesome. Yeah, no pressure.
Okay, so you have been at the Lourdes Center only just a little over a month.
Yes.
Yeah. How's it going so far?
It's going amazing.
Good.
It's such a wonderful experience. Like
Good.
from the day of my interview, it just felt like this is where I'm meant to be.
Oh, good.
And I've just felt the presence of God.
Oh, that's
Honestly, every day when I'm meeting with my clients, when I'm doing other projects, it's such a beautiful experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's good to hear you say that. I'm
Yeah.
glad that's happening so
Yeah.
far. Okay, so let's start by if you'll tell us a little bit about yourself and especially how you ended up in South Dakota, because if people can't hear it yet, there's a little bit of an accent to your voice, so we're going to
Yes.
learn all about that
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
So, yes, I am from Russia, and I came to America in August. Will be 10 years.
Okay.
So I came in search of education, and I may talk about it later of why specifically America. But I came to get education, and I got my bachelor's in psychology in Kentucky, and then I also worked on my master's in clinical mental health counseling
Okay.
in Eastern Kentucky University. So that's kind of where it began, and my passion really sparked for mental health since childhood. But
Okay.
this is where I was able to really pursue that passion
Right.
and get the knowledge. And then, so now in Kentucky, that's where I met my husband.
Okay.
Yes. So he is a military officer,
Okay.
and we were stationed in Fort Knox, Kentucky
Sure.
for a while, and now he was transferred here in Sioux Falls. So that's kind of
That was
how
lucky for us.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was also lucky for us because
Yeah.
we are loving Sioux Falls.
Good.
And maybe we'll stay.
Right.
Because there's options, and we love it so much that we would love to stay.
Yeah. How long has
Yeah.
he been in the military then?
He was in the military academy for 5 years.
Okay.
And since then, he served for another 6.
Okay.
So
So he may still get moved around a little bit, possibly.
he may, yeah.
Does he
but-
have the option to stay put as an officer?
A little
I don't
bit.
know how that
but
works.
then he's also maybe considering getting out and pursuing
sure.
kind of civilian life.
Sure.
So if he does that, we have
Then
all
you have
the
all
flexibility.
Right,
Yeah.
right, all you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit about your family and what your life was like there?
Yeah. So my whole family still lives in Russia.
Okay.
And with the current kind of situation and climate, it's very difficult. I'm very grateful to say that they're safe.
Good.
But with the current situation, we don't support what is happening. We
Mm-hmm.
don't support the Russian government. And honestly, majority of people back home don't.
Okay.
It's all coming from the government.
There's a lot of propaganda coming out of there
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah. And it's very heartbreaking,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. And I constantly worry for my family. But I was born and raised in Russia,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the country and the culture. And I hope and pray that one day the world peace will be a thing
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But yes, I grew up there. That's my home. I grew up in the
Small
town.
town, big city?
It's a pretty big city. I think it's between like 700,000 to
Okay.
1 million people.
Much bigger than here.
Yeah, it is. It is. So it is. It's called Taliati. It's on the Volga River.
Okay.
Kind of southeast from Moscow, but closer to Kazakhstan border.
Okay.
So very hardworking city.
Mm-hmm.
Not very touristy. We don't have much to
Sure.
see, but there's a lot of kind of factories and farms and very a lot of hardworking
Sure.
people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters?
I have a younger sister
Okay.
who lives in South Carolina, actually. So
Oh, no, okay.
I only technically have her as a blood family.
Sure. Here
In the States,
Right,
but everyone else is still in Russia.
Right. So
Yeah.
how did you end up in Kentucky? Just because that was the particular school you picked?
So I was a professional swimmer,
Oh.
and because as an international student, you cannot have any student loans, so you have to find a way to
Oh.
pay for your school
I
outright.
didn't know that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and school is very expensive.
Yes.
And if you can't take student loans, you have to pay outright. You have to find a way. My parents could not afford even a small part of what typical American college year costs with room and board and everything else. So because I was a swimmer, I was able to get scholarships and talking to coaches. And I talked to so many schools, but the one small school in Kentucky really saw potential in me, and I also applied very late, so that was a little hiccup. But they had some money for me. They had an athletic scholarship. I also was able to get an academic scholarship, and that just changed my life.
That's so helpful.
Gave me a golden ticket.
To
come here. But that's kind of how I was able to afford it, and I did not know anybody in Kentucky or
It had to be a challenge.
America. The first 2 months in America were the hardest months of my life. Because my English was horrible.
Well, it's very good now. So
thank you. Well, 10 years later, sure.
Yes.
But when I first came, my English was really bad because I had to learn big academic words to pass SAT and then TOEFL, which is English proficiency test. And then I did not know just basic everyday English, which was a struggle because
we talk different than we.
Well, I remember that one word that I really struggled with was a towel. And I was a swimmer. I should have known the word. I used the towels every single day after practice, before practice, whatever. And the word towel, I could not memorize that word. So I would explain it. I would call it the blanket for shower. Because I just could not remember what the word was. But people understood me. Also the same thing with professors. They were so understanding and so helpful. Because sometimes I couldn't remember the word and they would take my just very silly explanations for certain words. I was so grateful for that. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And hope at least it was only 2 months that there was a little bit of struggle and then you got through that.
It really helped when you kind of dive into the culture, and the culture shock was huge.
Yeah, I bet.
And that's something that I also love working with, culture shock. And I worked with other people from other countries, and overcoming that culture shock is huge. And sometimes you need help to navigate through that. So I went through this myself, so I can really understand the pain and the struggle of trying to adjust to a new culture. And culture doesn't necessarily mean being from another country. It's
right.
like moving
even
from one state to another, from one city to another, from small town to a big city. So many things can cause that kind of culture shock.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about what your faith journey has been like as a Catholic? Did you grow up Catholic? Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, even more interesting. Okay.
So I grew up in Russian Orthodox.
Okay.
And it's
very got some similarities, yes.
Yeah, very similar. But I honestly never truly felt that sense of belonging. It felt like empty rituals. I don't know. It sounds very sad, but that was kind of my impression of it. And I grew up learning all the things and participating as much as I could, but it just never felt like I really belonged. And so then when I got accepted to college, the small college that I went to is Lindsey Wilson College, and it's a small Methodist school. Okay. So there I was able to learn a little bit different things and participate in different events and things like that.
And Kentucky is not known for their large number of Catholics. So
some areas have more than others, but yeah. And again, I didn't feel that sense of belonging. And then 5 years ago, I met a guy who's now my husband, and he is full-blown Catholic, and his family is fully Catholic. And he one day invited me to go to Mass with him. And I said, sure, I'll try. And wow, like that sense of belonging that I was lacking this whole time, my whole life, it really hit me. And I feel like the Holy Spirit was there that night, or that morning. It was Sunday morning. And I just felt that such strong feeling of, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. And so ever since then, I started going to Mass and learning as much as I can about Catholic faith. And then I made the decision by myself to join our CIA classes. And I attended those for full year
Right.
and then made a decision to convert.
Yeah.
And so over 3 years ago now, on Easter,
Good.
I became a Catholic,
Yes.
and now I'm here. I'm part of it, and it
Yeah.
feels so amazing to be
Oh,
part of
that's so
such a
good.
great community.
I'm glad you said that it was your choice to do that, because it's really important, I think, in a marriage especially,
Yeah.
that it is your choice and you don't feel pressure from your partner,
Absolutely.
because that can be really detrimental if it's
Absolutely.
not your choice.
No, and I feel like I started developing that relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't so much as it was tied to my relationship to my then boyfriend.
Right.
It was more so very focused on my relationship with God, my
Sure.
personal relationship with God. And then as my relationship with my boyfriend grew and he became my fiance, now he's my husband, now it's a union with us and the God.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Which
But
is
that
super
was
important.
such a beautiful journey.
Yeah.
It was an adventure. It still is.
Good.
Yeah.
You probably still, I know a lot of converts especially are just always learning and just really hungry for that, which more of us cradle Catholics need to be a little more in that way.
But
We
it's-
can learn something
Yeah.
from converts just because of the excitement and the joy that, we're just used to
I
it.
feel
It's
like a
old
child
hat.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, we all are children
Yeah.
of God,
Yep.
and I just really feel that childhood excitement for the faith, for the journey, for going to mass, and yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So
All right. If you're just joining us, we're talking to Elena McDonald. She is one of the newest clinical counselors at the Lourdes Center. So let's talk a little bit about what you do at the Lourdes Center. So, first I want to know what drew you to the counseling profession, and then you can tell us a little bit about maybe what you do.
yeah.
down there.
So what drew me growing up in Russia, I just saw such a huge lack of services, and both of my grandfathers struggled with alcohol addiction that was kind of began due to very traumatic grief.
Sure.
And there wasn't anything they could do less than to numb their pain. They just turned to alcohol.
Right.
And it kind of, in the end, it ended their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing that in my own family, but then also seeing it everywhere in the country. And I'm hoping that since I haven't lived in Russia for 10 years,
Right.
and the last time I visited was 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that now things changed.
Right.
But I don't know. But when I was growing up, there was no services.
Right.
And talking about mental health was a huge taboo.
Mm-hmm.
If you did say that you were seeing a counselor, people just assumed that you have a schizophrenia at the minimum,
Sure.
and you were about to you're a crazy person.
Yep.
So you couldn't even, if you were to find something and you were trying to go and just talk and find help, people were judging. And
Sure.
yeah, it
That
was
happened
not,
here in this country too for
Yeah.
for a long time. So Russia's not alone in that.
True.
Yes.
And so I saw that, and that's where I was just constantly asking questions. Why? And it sparked my own interest in mental health and what are some things to help people who are grieving, who are struggling with addictions, who just struggling with change or
Yep.
anxiety, depression, all of those things. And so I couldn't find anything that I could go and turn to in Russia. So I started looking abroad.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was looking at getting education either in Germany or Czech Republic.
Oh, sure.
And I started even learning the languages for about 2 months. But
Should have been
then-
learning English apparently, huh?
Yeah. And so then I just discovered this big dream of America and possibilities that are in America with getting an athletic scholarship and being able to really pursue mental health field and job and career. And I mean, I got the starry eyes, and
It's
I
like
had
going to Hollywood, huh?
It turned into such a huge dream when I was 16. So in 2 years, I learned English from scratch and started applying and was able to get in and start studying psychology. But yeah, it just all started from not seeing
Yeah.
any services available
Yeah.
around me and wanting to be that person
Right.
to
Right.
help others.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, tell us what you do with the Lourdes Center and what is your approach to your work?
Yeah. So I'm a clinical counselor. I see people, small and big
Mm-hmm.
from all backgrounds. I see kids, I see teenagers, I see adults with variety of things
Okay.
that are happening in their
Mm-hmm.
lives, from clinical disorders and mental health problems to just life changes and transitions and
Sure.
kind of temporary struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So I love what I do. And my approach is to meet the client where they are, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't take the same approach with a 40-year-old woman
Oh,
and
sure.
a 5-year-old child.
Right. Right. Or
And
a
also with
teenager. Ooh.
or a teenager, or even take two young women, but
Mm-hmm.
one of them struggles with anxiety and the other one has relationship problems. So
Sure.
the approach really depends on the person, and I like to meet client where they are and then getting to know them personally,
Yeah.
because I think it starts with that relationship,
Mm-hmm.
so that people can really open up, and then you can see where the strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
I love finding people's strength
Right.
and pointing them out to them, because sometimes we don't realize what
Oh, that's very true.
our strengths are,
Mm-hmm.
and then working on using those strengths
Mm-hmm.
to bring to overall wellness. And that's my goal,
Right.
to bring the client to overall wellness. And I love exploring all aspects of their lives, because sometimes people come in and they say, oh, I'm really struggling with a gambling addiction, for
Mm-hmm.
example, and they kind of really focus on that financial aspect of their life.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we start exploring just plain relationships or emotional health or spiritual life,
Mm-hmm.
you realize where else are some of the little struggles
Right.
and pains and traumas and
What might be causing that addiction
exactly.
behavior? Yeah.
So you can get to really explore that from very holistic aspect and point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And then the goal is to bring the client to overall wellness.
Right.
Not just solve that one
Right.
issue,
Right.
but really help with the whole
Yeah.
um,
The whole person, maybe.
whole person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So another thing so I had talked with Emily Leadham before talking with you, and she said that you're doing a lot of research around couples work.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what that is.
I think I just completed the first level of the Gottman's couples therapy
Okay.
training. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
They have so much humor in their work, and it's not only educational, it's also very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But it's incredible to see how the relationship between people work.
Right.
So it's not just one person with certain issues
Mm-hmm.
and strength, but now you have two people or you have a whole family. And so it's amazing to navigate and teach people how to do healthy compromise,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
how to navigate
that?
through conflicts. Yes. And I'm actually writing an article on how natural family planning strengthens marriages.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, using kind of Gottman's work.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be posted soon.
Very good.
Yeah. So, and yes, just working through the relationships and seeing how to help people with very different, typically, backgrounds
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes different values and different stories, different struggles, how to get to know each other better, understand each other better, understand each other's strengths and weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
and then again finding healthy compromises and all of that. So I'm very, very interested in couples work, and my goal is to one day become like specifically certified
Oh, yeah.
maybe couples and family therapist. Yeah.
That's very needed. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should definitely do that.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have about a minute or so left. Can you tell me, what has your work taught you about yourself?
That's a really good question. I think the main thing is that I have such a huge passion to help people,
Mm-hmm.
and it just drives me to learn more and more and more and more as much as I can. I'm getting so many books. I just want to be the most competent person that
Right.
they step into my door, they know I will know how to help them.
Right.
And so my dream is one day to get a PhD. I want to get different certifications like in marriage and family counseling, EMDR, and some other things. Like I really want to be as competent as I can be for my clients. And so that's the main thing that I've learned, that I have so much drive in me for learning so that I can be the best therapist I can be.
Well, I'm excited to see how that comes along for you, because we certainly need it. I know that Emily has said they have waiting lists of people down there. So we need all the help we can get right now. Elena, real quick, do you have a certain saint that you turn to a lot?
Yes. And it can be pretty obvious, maybe, but Saint Dipna.
Oh, sure.
She is the saint for people who struggle with mental health.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh,
So
she's a great one.
Yeah, I pray to her a lot. And
Good.
Yeah, she's my go-to.
Got to have a saint to back you up all the time,
Yes.
don't you?
And she does. I feel like she's right behind me. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
with us today. It was really good to get to know you. And hopefully people will get in touch with the Lourdes Center and get the help that they need when they need it, because all of us need sometime.
I agree.
So,
And also get help before you need it, too.
yes, that too.
Yes.
Especially couples. That would be great.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
But I love my job.
Good. Thanks, Elena.
Thank you.
All right. If you haven't found us already on social media, you can find us at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and at YouTube and Rumble at SF Diocese anytime. Or you can come to our website at sfcatholic.org. That is it for us today. Hope you'll join us again next week for more Catholic Views.